Yes, people, we are back. Yeah, when I say we, I mean Man United. Hey, yeah, Bishop, Never Far hasn't been live since Friday afternoon. It's international break. Can't lie, man. I've needed that. I've got non-stop since the summer, even the last international break, non-stop. I think I had like half a break, but we're here, man. I'm ready for the week, man. I'm ready for football to begin again. You know, the other day, it was all doom and gloom. I had once ringing up my phone, 5 missed calls from months, yeah? And then now the situation has, flipped on its head. You know, I'm liking the news at the moment. My preferred bidder, yeah, it's not there. I know it. You lot can, no more Sheikh Kassim, no more. But who better to discuss it than man like Kunle and Potts, man? What are you guys saying? Afternoon, it's cold in England. It's probably hot in Nigeria. But what are you saying, man?
Oh yeah, now my people, it's your dark-skinned man from the motherland. If you didn't know before, today you go understand. And Kaz, you're making me feel cold. How you keep doing all of that, man? I'm feeling cold. I had to turn off the AC for a minute,
man. I've got my
so I could warm up again.
Yeah, man. It's cold in Manchester right now, man.
Smash the likes, people.
We said Potts.
Yeah, man, like you, I'm frozen. Literally, last couple of days down here ain't been fun. The temperatures dropped, summer's seriously effed off, and now we're left with what's going to be a cold autumn and winter. But, mate, it's another day. Man United are still in the mud. I'm happy, bruv. It's calm.
Are we? The thing is, are we? That's the questions that we're going to be getting around. So, for people that look at it as for what it is, there's some good details that have been coming out. But anyways, man, I'm not Sheikh Kassim no more. I'm Sir Ratcliffe now. Let that sink in. I am Sir Ratcliffe. And my name will be changing on Twitter and everywhere else to Sir Ratcliffe. So get used to it. Guys, make sure you smash the like button, please. There's 200 of you in there already. It's appreciated. I know we ain't been around, but it'd be nice to get this just as much likes as possible. First video back for a hectic week. Obviously, Arsenal's got Chelsea. So yeah, man. Let's get into the details of things as well, man. Kunle, what questions do you have over this, or do you reckon this is just Man United finished? Like, I'm just gonna throw it out there. I've seen it in the chat. I said it on my own. Look, do you think Man United's finished or what?
Honestly, like I think rival fans and certain Man United fans are getting a little bit overexcited. I don't think Man U is too big of an institution to ever be finished, whatever situation they're in, unless they get relegated into like the League One or something. But it's a takeover, and again, it will bring some form of new structure to the club. They are currently finished in terms of their football because regardless of the takeover, they still got to have Ten Hag as the manager and the squad that they have currently. So this season, I can't see them doing much. But structure is what the fans have been screaming out for. And maybe this takeover brings that. He's a Manchester boy. He's a Man United fan. So maybe it helps, isn't it? All I know is right now, I'm enjoying everything that's involving Man United because they're not my problem right now. So long may it continue.
Obviously, both of these, we got 2 Arsenal fans. So at the end of the day, you lot have got a good structure going on without any Arabs in control of your club and whatsoever. You could say it's a good sporting project. Dan, what were you saying on the whole Man United thing from your perspective?
Listen, I always said Man United would finish as long as the Glazers were staying there, and it looks like they ain't going. Looks like someone's sharing it now, and this Jim Ratcliffe guy's coming in. Listen, I do think that the fan base needs to look at himself, and I'm not saying the whole Man United fan base. I'm saying that there's a section of the fan base that have accepted this nonsense for far too long, in my opinion. And I was always the same with the Cronkies at Arsenal. If you weren't happy about it, what are the fan base actually doing to unite about getting them out? Nothing. And Manchester United are the same thing. It's like, for me, they give a new shiny toy and then everyone's okay again. And the shiny toy could be someone rubbish like Anthony, or it could be someone half decent like Bruno Fernandes. They're still the same. It's like, I want these guys gone. I want the Glazers out. Okay, what are you doing united together? Nothing. We're going to break down the stadium to prevent us European Super League, and then we're going to go back to sitting on our hands and supporting like good fans. This is the problem, I think. And I'm not saying that the fans are to blame for Manchester United being in the mud, but I am saying that what are your fan base doing about it other than accepting it? And it's not all cats. Like, there's a section of the fan base that have given up with the other half of the fan base by saying, I've tried telling them, they're not listening. So there's fighting amongst it. I just don't believe Manchester United can
Dan,
ever be in that position, man.
sorry,
Because the
sorry,
club
I have a question
grew up
in
winning, man.
regards to what you're saying in terms of what the fans are doing. For me, I see this whole thing quite differently in terms of what's it called, displays and coming up against your owners and blah blah blah. I've not seen a scenario where fans have been able to get rid of owners, except I don't know what happened at Sport in Lisbon. I know there was a bit of riots. I don't know if that ended up changing the ownership, but that's the only thing I've ever seen. So at the end of the day, I see it as we're fans. We don't have any given right to anything. You decided to support this football team. So win, lose, draw, pain, success, you ride the wave. You're not going to hear me saying Kroenke's out or Kroenke's in. I'm Kroenke's whatever, because do you get what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, my voice is not going to change the situation of the ownership. That's how I look at it. So I'm going to rock it the same way and enjoy what it brings and be upset at what it doesn't bring, but you're never gonna hear me shouting and
You know the
debating
difference, though, bro.
on
You
ownership
know the
out.
difference. You're one of those fans. There's too many that ain't like you, that want to say, I'm not happy. What you doing about it? Nothing. I'll still buy the shirts. I'll still buy the scarves. I'll still bring a Norwich scarf out when I feel like I fancy bringing one out. I'll still go to every single game. I won't sell my season ticket. I'll still fill the Glazers' pockets, and then I'll complain about them. Some of these people I've been seeing calling Glazers out wearing Man United shirts and bro, buying season tickets. I'm like, hang on a minute, like, you can't have it both ways. Like,
For
now, I'm
me,
not saying, you know, go on, Kat, go on. I'm
in
spoken up. Go on.
defense, no, you haven't. No, you haven't. I'm just saying, in defense, I get my Man United shirts, but not from Man United. Mine's from overseas.
That's fair, man.
You know what I mean? Mine's from Thailand. You feel I give a damn about it? I ain't funded nothing personally. The ones that I'm gonna elaborate on yours. The whole point is, yeah, what I find is wrong with this fan base, yeah, this Man United fan base. When I talk about, actually not on Twitter, the ones that actually are match going fans, they will stand up. Right, I think you should go support your club however you need to support. I don't think a ticket is going to change anything. Your ticket's not going to change anything, because if your ticket's not there, I guarantee someone from overseas is going to go take your ticket. So it's not going to make a difference at that point. The one point that for me is, right, if you hate the Glazers stand up, but yet you've got the pies, the drinks, and everything from inside the stadium and the bottle of water and everything, that's what I don't get. I've been in the stands where they're complaining about Glazers, but yeah, I see them have a what's it called, a club shop bag, and then as they got the club shop bag underneath their seat, they're eating a pie, and it's the worst pie in the world, by the way, and it's haram. So, anyways, so I'm just gonna say that, like I don't understand it. So listen, I just don't understand why it goes like that. And you got to pick up the section of fan base though that have tried to make a difference, but not enough support. Walking out of the stadium, staying in the stadium, trying to get games called off, so forth, so forth. The thing is, around the whole Glazer ship ownership is, if we're going to give details for people that are watching this right now, right, is the fact is they never wanted a full sell. It's clear as day, bro. When you got 5.5 billion stood up there without infrastructure costs and stuff like that, it goes to show they still want a piece of the pie as long as they can have a bit of the pie. So when people were moaning, like myself, I saw 25% ownership. The only way I look at it to get rid of these lot, right, in my opinion, maybe it was the same thing for Kroenke. Usmanov tried to do it, to be fair. You got to get 1 foot in the door first before anything else. So the ones that, see, this is what I don't get. Before Sheikh Jassim, even me and everything like that, before that happened, we were all twerking for Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I remember some guy called Michael something, Knight something, whatever his name is, was calling for a consortium with him to go and buy the club. If someone told me last year that someone's willing to put 25% of 1.5 billion into club, which doesn't involve infrastructure and that, by the way, then you would have bit your hand off for that. And also, if it means them getting out the door eventually, which is the deal that we know in detail, is that eventually that they have to go. That's the deal that's going to be presented on Thursday, right? Then that's the only way. Because guess what? You haven't got much choice. And the fact is, if you're thinking about business, right? Let's talk about business. Glazers, Qataris. If you're a good businessman, you're gonna do whatever it takes for any means to go get control of what you want, right? So technically, Qatar have to take that L. Sheikh Jassim has to hold the L. You should have done better business. Why is it that your business model of what you tried to do flopped, but the other one didn't? That's the way I look at it. So for me, it's like I've only ever wanted one thing in my club because I don't need all the money in the world. I wanted a fast track of infrastructure in a club and a ticking board. And I want the people of Manchester that are living in an area like Trafford, right, or Salford, which is not the greatest of areas in fairness. I want it to be built up like the other side, the east side of Manchester. Go look at where the Etihad and look at the community around there. That's all that is. That's for me. The only people that could have done that had the most money, on show in cash, was the Qataris. So that's why I want to Sheikh Jassim. There's no benefit. There's no guarantee that Qatari will come in and the sporting model is going to be successful. If people want to go look at stuff like that, go look at Malaga. Go do your research. Guess who owns them? That's all I'm trying to say. Do you get what I mean, Dan? There's no even if Arabs are going to come in, doesn't mean it's going to be successful. Go look at PSG. Is that successful? Anyone?
Listen, you're right. You're absolutely right. There needs to be more than just somebody with money, right? Because the Glazers have spent a lot of money and the Cronkies have spent a lot of money. Look at what they've spent it on. Now, of late, it's got better at Arsenal for sure. And I think Josh Kroenke has actually taken more of a lead and started to actually get involved in winning stuff at his other sports as well, not just a couple of them. Most of them have won something now other than us. So hopefully we're next, right? That's the way everyone's hoping and praying. Where I get a little bit kind of confused is the fans that are saying, no, I'm boycotting this, I ain't doing that. They're the ones that are getting ostracized against that club. It seems the ones that are saying, be positive, be hopeful, believe, stick with us. They're the ones with the Glazers. And anybody that's against that gets ousted by the club. It could be a manager like Jose Mourinho who says Pogba and Martial, it ain't for me, right? Get them sacked. All the other guys are going, whoa, hang on a minute. He's telling the truth. No, get him gone. Okay, no problem. Rangnick comes in. Yeah, this club is not right. You need to X, Y, Z. Nope. Get rid of him. See you later. Cristiano Ronaldo, fair play, bit of a disgrace, but he was kind of right. This place is a disgrace. Look at it. Ain't the Man United that I left. It's awful. Get him out. See you later. Everyone's just shush, fingers in ears. Get all these people away from the club. I think for me, the fan base should be waking up and saying, right, hang on a minute. Why are these like well-respected footballing men like Jose Mourinho, like Ralph Rangnick, like Cristiano Ronaldo all saying something's wrong? Maybe, just maybe, something might be wrong. Something might not be right at that club. The stadium's falling down. The fan base are just clueless in terms of where they're going, in which direction. I don't think Ten Hag really has any idea of what's happening next because he's the guy going, who shall I buy? I don't really know, mate. Just buy the lads from Ajax that you know. Okay, cool. Onana comes in. Anthony comes in. Martinez comes in. Can we keep going? Probably. There needs to be a director of football. There needs to be a clear plan. There's nothing. It's a mess, man. Absolutely.
And Dan, this is the thing, though, Dan. Like a lot of United fans, they preached how much they wanted Ten Hag and he has a great talent, DNA, and all that sort of stuff. 11 signings later, you're closer to the bottom half of the Premier League than the top of the Premier League. So even with this new structure in, then like, what does that mean for you guys on the pitch? That's the bottom line of all this. Like, yeah, all good and well, structure this, blah blah blah, but. I don't know the next person that comes into Manchester United because what I thought Ten Hag was coming in with that swagger of I'm not going to be in awe of being at Manchester United. I earned my right to be here, and you're going to see with my style of play and what I bring to the club. That's the energy that he came in with. So, in terms of the decisions that have happened since he's been appointed, I believe he's to blame for a lot of the footballer decisions, the transfers in and out. If not, what was his negotiations like when he was negotiating his contract? Because that was the point where you say, look, I'm not going to take X if you want me here. And it's either he's not said enough in that meeting or he's just like, oh, I'm just happy to be here. Whatever you guys say, I'm a yes man. Let's make it happen, innit?
I think he's got no choice. Ten Hag's got no choice. I said it like this. We haven't had a director of football since Fergie days, yeah. And even if you wanted to call that a director of football, I don't even think you could say that really was. So he was more of an executive, David Gill. So look, the way I look at it is like this. My preferred bidder was Qatar because I wanted infrastructure straight away. I wanted debt-free straight away. But that option got in the bin because of the certain people that are in charge. I'm not here to be a flip flop, but I'm not here to be negative. Like, have any of you ever known me to be a negative fan? I'm more of a reactionary, emotional type, and then I'll go towards context, right? I'm like that. So whether you like it or not, Man United fans or even rival fans, for me, I have to get behind it in some way, shape, form, or another. You can call it hopium, you can call it copium as much as you like, but at the end of the day, you have to suck it up, bro, and give it a chance. Pause. So on that notice, that's what I'm willing to do. So I'm willing to go. Like, I thought Jim Ratcliffe was broke. Then you go look into actual Ineos company, right? The actual company that is going to be taking the sporting measures towards Man United. They're rich. They're more rich than Sheikh Jassim, bro. By the way, just letting you know that.
Real talk.
Kaz, it's not about that, though, bro. It's about if Ratcliffe comes in and has a plan. Is there a plan?
That's a Manchester United fan, Dan. They should be all right, man. He's a man. He's a proper United lad.
Hey, that's exactly my issue was, and you can even ask Daps. I said it even before the what's it called? The decision of what's going to be going forward and commencing potentially, right? I said it's not about the money behind Man United. And don't get me wrong, Sheikh Jassim can definitely fast track Man United. 100 million%. I can get that stadium in the next 2 years. I can get that training facility in within 6 months or a year. You know, he can definitely put funds into the transfers pretty much straight away. Whereas with Ratcliffe, he's going to have to go with the slower approach because you got to recognize who you're dealing with. Right? So that's the way I look at it, right? I look at Mercedes model, and these are the things that you have to take in consideration. F1, he ran or is running 33% of a successful F1 model in sports. So he's like a bit like Todd Bowley. Todd Bowley's a winner at Chelsea over in a different sport, but the difference is he had no experience within the footballing world. Now look at Sheikh Jassim. What's his experience? I'm not trying to downplay it. I reckon he would have brought the correct people in because I do believe certain type of people are certain kind of winners, right? No one wants to bow down and be crap. And the whole point is Ratcliffe going to be more commercial or is it going to be more community? That's another part. You know, I want it to be more community-based, not commercially based, like an American, a typical one. He's had 3 years at Nice. And the next thing rival fans will point towards is look at Nice. I don't see them complaining this year, by the way. They put different people in charge this year. They've had different transfers this year. And now they're sitting second in Ligue 1. Now we've got
I'm not liking how ready you are for this conversation, Kaz.
See, this is what I'm saying. Of course I have to, bro. Of course I have to.
I don't like this.
I have to deflect off people straight up because you can't hit me with anything. Now we've got a successful feeder club over in France.
I knew I should have pushed for this show to be last night. Man.
Yeah, man. OGT Nice. I can put my players, well, not me personally, obviously. I can have youngsters going over to Nice and developing over in France in the top league. And I can take their ballers over. I guarantee Todibo comes in January. The ones that people are creaming over. Ones who are having a very good season. I don't mind that. But anyways, look, the way I look at it is you have to take every factor into it. There's experience behind that. So hopefully in the last 3 to 4 years, Ratcliffe has... My question is, have you learned anything? Because if you ain't learned nothing and you're only putting a certain amount of funds into Man United... How's that ever going to be successful? Because Nice compared to Man United is a whole different gravy train. Let me do some of these super chats from man. Like I big up Bish, man. I big up yourselves. I'm pretty sure you're on my Insta as well all the time. Now big up yourself. In my opinion, no actual United fan should be behind the SJR bid. Another protective layer to sustain the Glazers' grip at the club. Extremely naive to even believe the Glazers will eventually sell. Fickle fan base. See, that's another question. That's why we need more details. We 100% need more details behind it. But if it's the only route you can do, bro, we've got no choice. Like,
you got to start somewhere, man. At the end of the day, same as Kroenke's, man. You have to start. And we'll see
if my man can stick to his word. If he's going to take over the sporting measures of stuff, that's like when Josh Kroenke came in and then he brought in Edu. And now look at it all of a sudden. Kroenke's the winners out over there, over in America, because I've always known Kroenke's got a successful football league team over there, no?
Yeah, American football team.
Yeah, he's like an extremely good
team. Just won the NBA.
And Rams, the Nuggets, and then they've got the Avalanche. All them like guys are winning stuff now. So for me, that's why I'm looking over here, going, "Hello, what about us? Come on, like replicate it." But yeah, one thing I will say, Kat, just for that super chat, one will say, I feel like the standards for me at both Arsenal and United have been on the floor, in my opinion, in the last decade, and I feel personally. football's in cycles, so I understand you can't win all the time, right? So in the 70s, 80s, it was Liverpool, and in the 90s, it was United dominated with Arsenal, and then Arsenal, Chelsea, and United dominated. And then of late, it's been Man City who come on the scene, and Liverpool as well, right? I don't see Man United dominating like they have done, but that not even what you're asking. I don't see Manchester United winning a title for a while, mate. And I just don't
How
know
long is
how
a
it gets
while,
better.
though? How long is a while?
Well, it could be
It's
another
10
decade.
years.
Like, true, real story. Real talk, man. It could be 10 years.
I agree. Let me do these last two because I got to ask Kunle a question then. Ginger, again, big up Bish, man. He says from full sale only to Sir Jim's okay, dead club. You know what, Matt? It is what it is. Not me, Cass. I'm on my local team hype now. Grassroots settings. I big up yourself, man. United is dead for me. Glazers staying means we'll slip further into mediocrity. The thing is, this is the copium, or this is the reality of. There's been so many PR spins at Man United. They probably invented PR spins. Like it's there's so much PTSD within it. It's like, are we going to be lied to again? Are the Glazers going to go within 3 to 4 years? And like you said, even if it's a sporting decision, until a certain part of the ownership is gone, Dan, it's never going to be a successful model anytime soon. Anyways,
No.
you're going to have to. What you're trying to say. I think what you're trying to say is you have to be patient, whether you like it or not. You have to be patient because guess what? It's going to take a long time to literally burn the club down to the bottom of to a crisp to build it back up again. Literally, I'm talking about infrastructure. Literally burn it to the ground.
Yeah, and I'm saying, Kaz, as well, in terms of patience, I'm saying if you go down that model, then be patient. So, like for us, I didn't want to be patient with another wait 5 years and Arsenal be at the top again. I was waiting 15 at the time. Now I've waited 20. Yeah, so for me, I don't want to wait another 5 years. It's about winning now. We've got a squad ready to win now, in my opinion. I'm hoping that the manager can justify why he's been kept on so that he can win now, right? But with Man United are going to go for a win now mentality, then and go and get, I don't know, let's just go say you get yourself a technical director, sporting director, you get an Ancelotti or a Simeone and you start winning now, right? That's fair play. But if you're not going to do that and you're going to go, right, we need to sort the stadium out, refurbish that, we need to sort the training facilities out, I'm going to go and get De Zerbi, I'm going to give him 5 years project, I'm going to throw a load of money into it, then yeah, you will have to be patient. A bit like Chelsea. But for me, a Manchester United, a club that can do that, I don't know, their fan base wants everything now, and same as Chelsea's.
But Dan, either way, it's long, man. Like, because if they try and do the quick fix and throw money at it with a manager, I think that's problematic in itself. If it doesn't work straight away, obviously they're gonna start again. I think the best bet is to try the long game and try and build it up and have some patience. But don't get me wrong, us rival fans, we're not gonna give you that time, bro. We're not gonna be like, oh man, you're going through a rebuild. Let's just take the foot off the gas. No, we are going to troll you and banter you as much as possible during this period. We need you to feel it during this social media era, just like we have, basically.
So let's go through what's been said that's going to happen, right? And you lot give me your opinion on it. So the debate one is the director of football, the certain director of football that they want to bring in. The names on the list, as far as I know, is Paul Mitchell, who is from in and around Manchester, who's just left Monaco, and there's a certain Michael Edwards that Liverpool fans really want back. And if you bring Michael Edwards, that means you bring Ward as well, which they go hand in hand. They got a company together, and that's what a big reason for Liverpool's success is due to Michael Edwards. Is that not? And it is another part is saying that if Ratcliffe on Thursday gets what he wants, which is all sporting control measures and so forth, he wants to bring in the team immediately. So that's what we do know. And that's come from multiple sources. Is that not a step in the right direction? Or is that looking like he's trying to just get a profit? As what I'm seeing in the comments, basically.
I would say if that's what happens, it's definitely a step in the right direction. But again, if that happens, we still have to question, is your manager the right man to take this project forward?
You're saying
that's the big question.
Don't you think that's a bit difficult when if there is new ownership and there is a new direction, then it all comes down more based to the relationship of the manager to the owner, to the director of football, more than what's going on the pitch at the moment?
I think it all works hand in hand together, to be fair, because you see, for example, with Klopp, when Klopp went to Liverpool and he had that team behind him and transfers, I think with his style, he cemented a style of play and a confidence in the fan base of what was going on. So they believed if given some money that they could achieve something. I don't know if extra money is extra money and the technical director is going to be the thing that drives Ten Hag forward with Manchester United. That's my only question. I have so many doubts with the manager now.
Yeah, what do you reckon? So, Dan, do you reckon Ten Hag's job is? They say it's safe, but do you reckon it's everyone's job is on the line type situation? Because if you think of it along your lines of stuff of maybe when Kroenke's took over, you'd probably remember that no manager is any manager ever been safe in the takeover. Like we can literally look at Todd Bowley with Tuchel. You can go look back in the day as well from Manchester City and their new owners. No one's actually ever safe.
Ranieri and
Ranieri and Abramovich, Kroenke. When obviously I think Wenger was an anomaly because he was doing so well. You couldn't get rid of him. It was impossible.
Listen, no manager is safe when these guys are involved, because in 17 years of Chelsea, I've seen about 17 managers, but I've also seen about 17 trophies. So people have got to sit there and ask themselves, do they want trophies or do they want years of stability by just missing out, but we've got a nice manager in charge? This is the problem. I think we get very, very attached as football fans to wanting everyone to be here for longevity, and sometimes those days are done. It's very, very rare you see Sir Alex Ferguson or Arsene Wenger situations anymore. 5 years max and they move on. It's impossible for that now. So for me, Mikel Arteta, I think he's one of the longest serving managers in the league, and he's only been here 5 years. So for me, it's completely changed.
You mean that one club? Like literally one club?
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
It's in Pep and Klopp, isn't it?
Yeah, it will be them. Yeah, Pep and Klopp. Yeah, they're been there the longest.
Even outside the Premier League, like how long has Simeone been at Atletico? Like, he's probably the longest outside of the Premier League. Other than that,
absolutely,
I don't know,
bro. Absolutely, and you look at you look at Carlo Ancelotti. Everyone would still have him now because he's a serial winner. Like Don Carlo is Don Carlo for a reason. The CV don't lie. But it's very, very rare you get long term. Listen, Ten Hag will be fine. Until we start to see Manchester United flirting with 13th, 14th, 15th. Then you might have to say, okay, well, what are we doing then? Are we going to pull the plug and get somebody in now that could do better or what? Because for me, I've always stuck up for him saying, do you know what? He's had a season. He needs to be given time. However, this season, he's done some really strange things, man. He's the one responsible. That team is his. It's not a team that I look at and go, yeah, but he didn't want those 7. This is a team that he wanted the goalkeeper. He's put that back line pretty much together, other than the fullback. He's put the midfield together now. He's put the strike force together now. There's nothing there in that 11 that I look at and go, yeah, that ain't Ten Hag. I don't recognize that as being Ten Hag. All of the players have come from him, so he's got to hold that. Where I can have a little bit of sympathy is the fact that there's been no clear plan for him because there's no director of football. Manchester United don't have a director of football. That's mad.
But doesn't he need to have a plan as well, though, Dan? It's not about having no clear plan for him. Bro. What was his plan going to Man U? Surely he sold himself in some way.
And you know what, bro? You know what he also needs, and he hasn't still got a style of play. I don't see any style of play at all. And it took him a whole season to say maybe David De Gea isn't the guy that I want. Then he's gone and picked a clown to replace him with. Like, go and get a goalkeeper that's better than David De Gea, because this guy looks a shambles. He looks he's worse than De Gea at the moment. For me.
But you know what?
I can't lie. Yeah, I can't lie. I think he's brought in a phase too early. As in, like, you can't bring in a footballing modern goalkeeper. It don't matter who he bring in. To be fair, I'll be real. You don't need to go get Diogo Costa or you go and get Mike Maignan, who's always injured anyway. Don't matter what keeper. There's limited amount of good goalkeepers on this planet currently. Yeah, when you think about it. But when you can't sort out midfield, right? And this is on Ten Hag, by the way. I think, in my opinion, for getting Mason Mount in the first place, you brought in a goalkeeper that wants to play out from the back. Now he's playing long ball. Why? You have to ask yourself why. It's because you haven't sorted out the midfield first. So you got a goalkeeper, and don't get me wrong, but how can you put a phase of a goalkeeper in? I think you're in a year too early, but it maybe it's 6 months too early. Maybe you might end up sorting out and getting the balance right. But how can you bring a goalkeeper that is comfortable playing out from the back? You could all see it in the Champions League for yourselves if you didn't watch Serie A, right? You can even ask Inter Milan fans. You can't get the ball off him just for him to play long ball. Make it make sense.
Yeah, and that's why I said Ten Hag, like, what is his plan? Because you don't bring that keeper in unless you know you have a certified style of play. It's not bring the keeper to start the new style of play. It's like, get a style of play, then we're like, oh, maybe we need a ball playing keeper at this stage. Then you throw him in. So this was just the season where he was supposed to instill his style of play with the safety hands of De Gea. And let's not get it twisted. He kept the right amount of clean sheets for sure. I wouldn't say he was your biggest area of improvement that you needed this summer.
No,
so,
you know
yeah,
what?
You're right.
I think in hindsight, though, I think it's so easy to not. It's easy to forget the amount of mistakes De Gea did make. De Gea used
for
to
sure, but he suited what style you guys were playing.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. But I think he was a problem, but maybe not the problem. I think for what he wanted in De Gea's defense, for what he actually wanted at the club is what the club didn't want to give, which was another mad contract. But then he said he wanted a pay cut and everything. Maybe it was the wrong decision, but maybe it was the right decision. I think time will tell this season alone. It's a bit like the whole David Raya and Ramsdale situation. We'll see if bringing in another top goalkeeper long term is better for Arsenal, or in short term makes it worse. And at the moment, it's looking good. But you could say it's brought a variant. So
I think the problem with Ten Hag is that
he needs to pay another right back.
Yeah, maybe, or centre mid. No, but he the two signings that he needed to go well have gone terribly. Anthony, because you spent a lot of money, and Onana because you sold arguably one of your club legends after he just had the most clean sheets last season. So they had to both go well. It wasn't like none of your fans or none of the rival fans were going to accept Anthony's return last season. They'll be like, ooh, that made the 90 million make sense. No one's thinking like that. If it did, I guarantee the conversations around the whole Ten Hag thing would be a lot different right about now. But those two ones
maybe you could ask them, Dan, does Ten Hag currently in this current situation have too much power as a manager?
I don't think there's anybody who has too much power or too less power at Manchester United, because I don't see any idea of what's going on. I don't know who is actually in charge right now, because there's no clear plan, and that's your biggest problem. For me, when I saw Maguire and Evans lining up together, I thought that's enough to tell me that there's a massive problem at Man United. You know, when I see Maguire and Evans together as a centre-back pairing, which was Leicester's centre-half pairing a few years ago, I'm like, yeah, I'm done. Man United are finished.
But those are their last two victories have been with those two at the back though, Dan. So what are we saying?
Yeah,
there you go.
The only thing I give Onana obviously credit or bank for is his first season, obviously, and he has to work with a makeshift defense. And you could even say maybe a midfield that Ten Hag hasn't sorted out yet, and that's down to him. That's it. But the Howlers, though, they're non-excusable. James says, I used to watch Earthworm cartoons back in the 90s. Now he owns Man U, my hero, you know. This guy.
Big up.
Man.
James Bond.
People don't know what Earthworm Jim is, yeah. Go on Google right now. It's mad.
Legendary.
Might even, especially I grew up in I grew up as a baby in the 90s, but yeah. That's some funny things. But let's bring some more facts, because I think Dan just said there what's going to be the clear plan. This is directly from The Athletic. Is Jim Ratcliffe wants immediate control over sporting decisions and is proposing a new structure in which INEOS representatives sit on the board, allowing them to exert influence on these matters. The exact nature of this arrangement has yet to be defined. And he says Jim Ratcliffe is not concerned about immediate control of United's business arm, but he has negotiated a mechanism to eventually purchase the majority of shares and complete a complete takeover. And that's what The Athletic has reported. So if you want to talk about clear plan and direction of where Man United are going, that means the Glazers won't end up staying, if that is the reports are to be true. And if he's not directly involved in a business arm, right now, does that not show anyone that's listening that he doesn't care about gaining a buck or two out of Man United currently and is trying to build it? And they also said they are currently planning in the infrastructure to get sorted out immediately. Is that not a clear plan for anyone?
Yeah, but this is the
what
thing.
Does that mean for this season, though? That's the only thing. I don't think we'll really.
But this whole thing is not about the season, because I feel like we went through it. You need to burn Man United down to the ground in terms of infrastructure and everything, and rebuild it back up, because that's how much neglect has been put on the club.
I think we've got to see it. There's a lot of words there. I've got to see it first. And I don't think we can look at the moment and go, yeah, that's really good for United. We don't have a clue what this guy's all going to be about. So for me, I think we've got to let it play out now and see where you're at, and then make a decision. I just think there's problems There's problems in the team right now as well, and that's why we can't look just at the ownership. We've got to look at why Marcus Rashford has now turned in yet again to Danny Welbeck, who feeds kids. Like, we've got to be asking that question, man, because for me, he ain't done nothing. Yeah. People say it's Luke Shaw and he misses Luke Shaw. Okay. Let's see what happens when Luke Shaw comes back. There's so much problems. There's so much problems, man. Onana as well. Like, Onana, massive decision. Højlund, like, looks good, to be fair. So much pressure on him at a young age now.
But Dan, don't you think, man, you're making Onana look worse than he is? Like, let's be honest, he's not as bad as this. Like, he might be making some howlers, but he's not as bad as this. Come on. Yes, to the end.
Yeah, I just think United, it's poor all around, man. How many of the United players, like, real talk, would anybody look at and go, "Oh yeah, I'd take them 5, 6, 7." No, I'm struggling after 1 or 2 now, and I never did that. United, I used to be like, I can't get any of these Arsenal players in this United team. Like, Christ, it's unreal.
That's true.
Now, whoa, I won't want any of them.
If we look at it on the other side, when there's new ownership, typically players know that they're not safe. So that might buck them up a gear or two, knowing that their position at the club is not safe.
No, watch Luke Shaw, Roberto Carlos reloading, bro. Watch it.
That guy is a fraud. That guy's a fraud. I see something say he's been the best left back in the Premier in the last 10 years or something like that. At top 2.
Who said that?
Twitter said that, bro. No, it was someone that was trying to make a discussion, and I think, like, are you trying to make clicks, or do you genuinely sitting in piss of your own delusion, or delusional piss, whichever way you want to? Anyways, guys, there's 600 of you in here. Please. We haven't been streaming for like about 2.5 days. You could say 3 days exactly. This is our first stream back in a couple days. We've had a well-deserved break. So if you guys don't mind exiting your live chats, I can direct you exactly how to do so. By the way, take notes, Dan. This is how you get people to like it. Trust me. You need to get them proper direction, because some people don't know where the like button is. So if we are to give people the direction of... No, I'm not joking. Not even joking. A lot of people that might be new subscribers and YouTube don't understand what the like situation is. So I might as well give them a little tour. So guys, if you are here, look, this is the live. Yeah? Exit. There's a like button right there. There's 193 likes. Now you know where to like the video if you don't mind. If that goes up, that means the video goes up. If that goes up, that means these boys who have got their own channels, which is in the description below. Kunle's permanently in there. He's been our guy since day dot. Even Dan Potts, he's on. Look, right there, Football 12th Man Podcast. We've got Tunnel TV, aka One Touch TV. So make sure you go check them boys out as well, man. They do some good content. They're obviously, but we need more exposure for them. So please, if you don't mind doing that. No, it's not a shameless plugin. What's the shameless plugin? How can it be shameless when it's on my own channel?
That's the wildest thing I've ever. You can't plug in anywhere but your own channel, man. Come on, man. Be reasonable, guys.
I've got a question which we might even elaborate when maybe on another stream, but I want to get you boys' take on it, because this is going to be the question. Obviously, everyone looks towards the Man City model to be successful in the Premier League, right? But I look at and even competing on the European front, etc., etc. Do you need Arab owners to be successful? Because we seem to do this stereotypical thing, which is true. We do it. We say American owners are a certain way, Arab owners are a certain type of way, and maybe British owners and so forth of other kinds work in a different way. Maybe it's just like a culture thing or the way people work, right? Do you reckon Man City's success of recent is down? Obviously, it's down to their structure and everything, but you could also argue it's down to having the best manager in the world. But you look at other structures around. Do you need Arab owners to be dominant in world football? Because we look at Real Madrid. Like, I'm just going to give quick examples. Real Madrid, right? Don't have Arab owners. Bayern Munich, footballing people all over the gaff. Successful model, but you could say they've been lacking in Europe for the last 4 years. They could be doing a little bit better, right? You could look at the ones up and coming, like Arsenal. They have American owners, but look what they're doing on a sporting level. They are up there competing. Liverpool, FSG, yeah, they didn't compete in terms of money, but maybe that's something down to something else, and that's neglect there. I wouldn't say FSG are the dominating model as of any time yet, but it could change on its head, right? Newcastle got new Arab owners, yeah. They're doing it correct, slowly building up piece by piece, and you can clearly see that they're caring and putting people in place. So that's just a few examples. I can keep going through examples which have failed and are successful or going to be. Do you reckon you need the Arab owners because of the money in football right now to be successful?
Do you know what? My example I was gonna use, I was gonna say the Arab owners speeds up some of the process because they're ready to just throw cash at it. But then I look at what happened at Chelsea. Bowley was willing to throw money at whatever he thought was the problem, and look at their current situation. So I don't know if it's as black and white as the Arab owners means success, but when you get Arab owners, you know you're going to be, it's not going to be like, we missed out on a player by 5 million or 10 million. They're like, who's telling us no? Drop another 10 million on top of that. Drop another 500K on that salary or whatever. They're willing to do extremes because some people talk about sports washing or whatever they're trying to do. So that's why they're willing to throw so much money so fast. I don't know. I don't know if it's as black and white as you need Arab owners. I think you just need people that are ready to spend money and ready to give you some sort of structure.
The fast tracking I agree with, but the consensus of it all is saying that you need a certain type of owner to, to be successful. I think it's kind of stupid because when you think about it, do you know what I don't like is this ain't a dig at City or nothing like that, by the way, because they talk about how much City have spent in the last how long. But when you go look at the figures, there's a couple other teams that have spent more than City. City have done what they needed to do to get onto the top of world football, which is you need to do. Look at Todd Bowley, what he's trying to do. Exactly the same thing, spent probably exact same much, nearly, if not more. I think it's about 1 billion. So it's about 200-300 million less. And yet that still hasn't been the case. But I think Todd B is actually learning, and slowly Chelsea will get that project up and running like it was Abramovich all over again. Again, another one who had a successful model. It wasn't the cleanest model, but when you deep it, Chelsea have won the most things in the last 2 decades.
But now there's FFP, Kaz. It's harder to do the fast track anyway. Now there's FFP.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. I've seen something along the line. You can't deal with that now, apparently.
For me, there's the only one thing that matters to me in ownership is the ambition to win, as opposed to the ambition to win as opposed to the ambition to make money. Because you can make money by coming top 4 every year, right? And have owners that are going, they've got top 4, we got our money. Or you can be like the best owner I've seen in recent times, which is clearly Roman Abramovich, who was not from the backgrounds of the Cities and PSG lot. For me, the best owner, because he demanded the best. And if you weren't going to provide him with the best, you can get the hell out of here. And I'll get someone who can.
Dan, on that point about Roman, I want to discuss that because on paper, if you're a Chelsea fan, you're experienced in the last 20 years, the buying, the selling, the replacing of coaches, you won so many trophies. But for them to be sustainable, they needed an exact owner like Abramovich to continue the success, which is because that's the big issue now, because not every owner is going to wear the team like his own. Like if Chelsea lost, Abramovich thought he lost. So it's a bit of a, I don't know if it's,
but that to me is why he's the best owner because he's the one that made sure that Chelsea won. And if you got somebody in, Avram Grant, penalty kick away from winning the Champions League, off you go, son. Di Matteo won the Champions League, off you go, son. There's going to be someone better. So I'll always go and win. And that's why Chelsea won trophies. And everybody then gets jealous of it and bitter. I wouldn't want to be like that. I wouldn't want my club to be like that. Bore off, man. Yes, you would. 17 trophies in 17 years. Come on, man. Stop talking nonsense. Of course you would. It's about that now, unfortunately. We've moved with the times. It's none of this self-sustaining model stuff. You ain't going to win you nothing. You got to have the ambition to go and win. And I think personally, it will be a complete, for me, it's nothing to do with how much money you've got. I've seen Manchester United, I've seen Chelsea, and I've seen Arsenal in the last 5 years all spend more money than Man City. All 3 of those clubs have spent more money than Manchester City since Mikel Arteta walked in the door at Arsenal. And us 3 can look at each other right now and go, where have we been in the last few years? Because Man United and Chelsea have regressed massively, and look at them now. And Arsenal is still trying to get that title over the line. So for me, Manchester City is a well-run model for sure. But for me, I think it's about ambition and the want to win. And I think they've got everything right, Man City, to be fair. Pep Guardiola is a massive, massive plus for them. Don't get me wrong.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say as well, like before I end up wrapping the show up, isn't that? When Pep Guardiola ends up leaving, I think even City fans probably know that they're going to have some sort of decline and drop-off, right? But they will always have the structure there because Pep is Pep. And you have to hold that one down. He is, unfortunately, even after admit, he's the best manager to ever live in terms of tactics and everything like that. Blah 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 blah. He's the best.
Better than Fergie?
No, I said tactics. I said tactics.
Tactically,
yeah.
okay, that was the
Manager
caveat.
is the best tactician, and when it comes to that, bro, there's no eating off of that. It don't matter what model you bring in, don't matter what Arabs you bring in or what money, you're not being Pep. Because guess what? There's no manager that comes anywhere close to Pep. Not one. Not a single. There's Pep, and then there's levels. That's the level, bro. There's a drop off.
So until he outlasted the big boys before him, basically, because obviously he's the young buck. Now he's the old head.
I think this is unpopular opinion. Kaz won't like it. I think he's better than Fergie. I think he's the best ever.
This is that purely down to biased behavior, by the way.
Do you know what, Dan?
The only thing
I would say,
the only thing why I could never say that, and it's unfair on Pep to be fair, is the fact that he won a Champions League with a Scottish team, and he built a franchise from the depths.
It wasn't a Champions League, Kaz. Don't overdo it. It was a cup.
Aberdeen.
Aberdeen. It was a cup winners' cup, but it wasn't a Champions League.
It was Champions League.
It was cup. It wasn't a Champions League.
You know why?
It was a good try, though. You tried it, though. You tried it.
You know why? And you know what? That's fair.
It definitely wasn't Champions League. It was a European trophy, though, for sure.
I'm talking about this guy. Whenever you compare two legends, you always and you prefer one, it always makes you sound like the other one's no good and he's shit. Let's get it real. Both of these guys are unbelievable, right? Unbelievable what I've seen. The only thing I will say is I don't think Sir Alex Ferguson has changed football like Pep Guardiola has. I'd never heard of an inverted fullback until Pep, false nines before Pep, playing out from the back. Every goalkeeper's copying him. Every back four's copying him. Tick-a-tack of football's a thing now, and it's the way people want to play. This guy's changed complete football and continues to every season. I've never heard of this John Stones position. He just creates.
Could he win at Aberdeen, Dan? Could he win at Aberdeen? Could he win at Aberdeen, lad?
Either way, he built a franchise which is known as it is today. Even though Man United were a big franchise, he elevated it.
That's 100%.
In terms of tactics, of course, Pep changed the game. But remember, Johan Cruyff done inverted fullbacks first. You know, when we talk about total football, which is the basis around Pep's tiki-taka, by the way, total football is Dutch football. Go look at Louis van Gaal's team. Go look at all these other teams. He wasn't the first to do it. He just elevated it. He was taught and he made it better. And then now, obviously, he's taught other clubs to go and dominate a game. So I could say in terms of a modern game, 100%. But when you talk about the overall works of the game, it wouldn't be where it is if it wasn't for Ferguson bringing in sports science and stuff like that. It wouldn't be in the difference when it comes to dietary commands of a Wenger. Wenger changed
100%.
You're talking about different scales, so it's kind of hard to like do that. But when it comes to, but if you're gonna tell me, like the thing is, I look at Liverpool and I can see a team that doesn't need all the ability in the world to go beat a tactician master. So this is the hard part, right? If you gave Ferguson his best ever 11 that works for him and everything compared to a Pep Guardiola tactic system of whoever he wants in his 11 kind of situation, you don't know who's going to win that game overall. System based or man management based to give you all kind of situation and make sure you fight to the very end. And obviously, I think Pep's also got that man management side of him. But it's so. I wish there was a simulation, like a perfect simulation.
That you could,
even if it's 99.9%, that would be such a sick system to be like, who would really beat who? But we can only go off of what we've seen, and we've seen a Pep Guardiola dominate. In fairness, he had Messi and everything, but dominate Man United in a final. You know what I mean? Like we've seen it. So it's like on tactics wise, Pep wins, but on the man management size and all that like side
right now
by yourself typically is obviously Fergie. So it's just different because remember, manager doesn't mean tactician. But then again, overall, who's got better balance? You could probably say it's Pep.
I would say right now I'm still Fergie as much because he's the one that gave me many levels of pain through my childhood. So Fergie's the guy. I'm sure by the end of Pep's career, I'm probably going to say Pep.
Football's back. That's all I care about.
Real talk, bro. I've been lost, mate.
You know what? The only last thing I'll say on this, right, is that Pep Guardiola, for me, people will go, yeah, he had Messi, but he had that, but he spent loads of money. But for me, he's provided two of the best sides I've ever seen in my 30 years of football. Barcelona in 2010 and this current Man City side are the best two I've ever seen. And Pep Guardiola was a manager for both of them. That's not a coincidence, man.
Yeah, man. It's just like Man United, the 99 and the 08 team. Anyways, yeah, devastated. You're telling me that our front three would have fucked teams up today? Oh my word, defenses will be getting destroyed. Ooh. Who?
I had a lot of respect for both those teams, but for me, the other two just nick it.
Again, as we said, whoever's listening to this, that's a brainiac. We need a simulation of 99.9%.
Make it happen. All you
accuracy.
football geeks.
I would love to see
Make
some
it happen.
past teams, like even a Liverpool 2000, I think it was at the 1918-19 team or 1920 team. One of them, I would love to see a simulation against a team from back in the 04 Mourinho. Because I guarantee you, Mourinho's 04 team would give anyone a game. Anyone.
Hey, that 04 team was a problem. Was that Robin and Duff? Yeah, Robin and Duff.
The diamond.
Yeah,
Mad.
Makelele, Lampard, that was
Hey,
nuts.
this is
nuts.
man, I wish this
That
is
was
such a
nuts, bro.
studio type based show that it could just get. That would be sick.
Literally.
Big up CFC Pirate. He says United fans are coming to terms with Jim slowly. JW says Pep is to football what iPhone is to mobile phones. Dominant, basically. That's a very good analogy,
That's a good
That is, yeah, that is.
very good analogy. But guys, man, big up yourselves. Make sure you subscribe to 12 Man's Football Podcast and also One Touch TV in the description below. So please, all you got to do again, if you take out your live chat, go show these guys some love. Even if you're not an Arsenal fan, Kunle does other content with other people just like me, and same with Pot. So it's technically the same kind of thing where it's generic, but it's different types of content. But big up yourselves. We're going to be back, not tonight. We're going to be back tomorrow. Watch out for our videos. Watch out for all of that. And we'll be back to resuming normal content. And we're going to be building up to the weekend, man. Come on, Chels. Come on up the Chels. Let's go. Let's go.
What we did. That what we did.
Chelsea.